What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Million Dollar Body Podcast. I'm your host, Nate Palmer. I have the distinguished honor of being here right now with John Lee Dumas from the Entrepreneurs on Fire podcast. John, thank you so much for being here with us. You are a legend.
Nate, I am fired up to be here, brother. I can't wait to spread some value bombs to the world.
Oh, I wish you would. Bro, okay, so I'm so excited to dive in. So let's just give the people what they want right off the bat. John, how much do you bench?
I honestly can't answer that question. I haven't been on a bench in like a long time, but I have built a gym out here in my house. So I have dumbbells where I do alternating benches with those.
Amazing. Is that your favorite exercise?
No, I like battle ropes the best.
All right. So for those of you who don't know, John Lee Dumas, JLD, has built an incredible platform using his Entrepreneurs on Fire podcast with more than 2,100 episodes. Is that right? Over 1 million listens per month. And you just switched down from being a daily podcast to now going once a week, right?
Twice a week.
Twice a week. Okay. But from 2012 till very recently, you were doing one podcast episode a day.
For 2,000 days in a row, AKA 5.5 years, I did a daily podcast. It was amazing.
That's so insane. The consistency, the dedication, the focus that you have to do that. Why are you so successful, John?
Because I'm consistent.
So can I ask you just how does your health and fitness connect you with that success? What does that do for you in the times when you're maybe not feeling like putting out another episode or interviewing someone else?
So for the first couple of years of running my show, it was all business all the time, trying to build it from the ground up, just focus, a lot of screen time, a lot of booty in chair time, and just not a lot of focus on health, on wellness, on the food that was going in my body, not a big focus on sleep. And I suffered as a result of it. 2012, 2013, 2014 were kind of years where I was seeing my business go up, but my health kind of starting to deteriorate a little bit. And it was at that point I've kind of started to change my listening habits, meaning I was like strictly listening to business podcasts and reading business books to listening to health podcasts and reading some books on health as well, kind of commingling, so I was doing some of each. And it just really became obvious to me that if I was actually going to live a life of happiness and freedom, that was also going to be free from feeling like crap, from being lethargic, from having brain fog and all these problems and issues that come with just not focusing on your health and wellness. So I made a big shift. I said, you know what? I want to continue growing my business, but that's not the only priority now. I have business, I have health, and I have relationships. It's the trifecta. So if those three things take up 1/3 of my time each, then guess what? My business may not get to the level that I want it to because I'm not putting as much time, energy, and effort into it. But whatever level it's at, I'm going to enjoy so much more because I'm feeling good, because I'm looking good, because I have energy and clarity and overall general focus. So back in 2014, the end of that year, I made the shift, kind of came out 2015, guns blazing, let my audience know I've taken them on a journey now for over 3 years. Now I have a virtual trainer I work out with 5 days a week. I have a virtual nutritionist. I have a functional medicine doctor, who gets my gut health right and make sure I have the right supplements in my body. I mean, I live in Puerto Rico, so unlike 99% of the world, I actually get enough vitamin D from the sun, which is incredible, and other things along those lines. I actually went to my functional medicine doctor about a year ago, and I said, what's one thing I can do realistically, like not like some stupid polar bear ice plunge, but realistically every single day that is going to have exponentially positive effects on my life? And he said, get yourself an infrared sauna and sweat in that thing for 30 minutes a day. Open your pores up, get rid of toxins, get rid of heavy metals, just blow it all out. And ever since then, I got a Therasage. I've been sweating my booty off and I keep saying booty because I don't know if I can swear in the show.
You can totally swear. I love swearing.
Okay, sweat my ass off for 30 minutes every single day. I've got a wet dry vac right next to me, a little one where I literally vacuum up my sweat every single morning. And about every 6 days, I gotta pick it up and go dump it over the ledge and just watch all of this disgusting, toxic, heavy metal sweat that was in my body just go and just kill my grass. And I love it.
That's awesome. I think you should say some of that though, because I bet there's some people out there who would pay top dollar for some JLD sauna sweat.
That might be true, but I
Just
wouldn't sell it
thinking.
to them because it's all crap. You know, I don't want them smelling it, getting it on their body, because that's why you do saunas, is because you're getting rid of the crap in your body.
So you've been doing that, I would guess, consistently since your doctor told you that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome, man. So after 2014, when you kind of made that shift into 2015 to really prioritize your health, and I know you're a master storyteller here, so I would love if you have actually a story you could share with us. But is there a way you actually felt a physical difference either in your business or your relationships or just in your life and the freedom you have since making that change?
I honestly think it's overall energy would be the one word I could describe, where
Mm.
I just really have this renewed sense of energy, you know, because everything just kind of starts to have this ripple effect, meaning like you start exercising more, then you start sleeping better. You start sleeping better. You start waking up more refreshed. You start waking up more refreshed. You start to tackle the day. You start to feel more refreshed in tackling the day. You have less cravings to like sit on a couch and you like eat crap. So now you're eating healthier. And it just kind of has like this cyclical effect because now you're eating healthier. You're looking in the mirror. You're looking better. That makes you want to work out more, which makes you sleep better. And then it just kind of keeps building off of itself. You know, not too long ago, I got, I'm actually charging it right now, but I'll pull it off. I got the Aura Ring, which I'm absolutely obsessed with. And what I love about this Aura Ring is not only does it kind of like track all my activity and stuff like that, so I can kind of keep track of my steps, my calories burned, et cetera, et cetera. It gives me a sleep score every single morning. So I wake up every morning and I know not the fake how many hours I slept. Like people are like, oh yeah, I slept 8 hours last night. Well, yeah, you went to bed at 10 and you woke up at 6. Does not mean you slept 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Like you didn't actually fall asleep till 10:45. You woke up twice during the night. You got no deep sleep. You were just in light and REM sleep the whole entire night. So you never got that true restorative sleep. So what are you doing wrong? You're not going to bed early enough. You're probably eating too much right before you go to bed. So the Aura Ring actually holds you accountable. It gives you the true time that you got for sleep-wise. Like I only slept for 6 hours and 37 minutes last night, which stinks. But I would have told you right now, had I not had this thing, that I slept for 8 hours last night because I was in bed for like 8.5 hours. But I wouldn't sleep for 8.5 hours. You know, I slept for 6 hours and 37 minutes. And I did not get as much deep sleep as I needed to for different reasons. So this holds you accountable. It makes it happen. And again, it's just part of that ripple effect that makes all the difference.
And I like what you said about holding you accountable too, because I know you said you have a virtual trainer, a virtual nutritionist. All those people are holding you accountable to these goals you've set, correct?
Correct.
Now, going back to the Aura Ring, have you heard of the concept of placebo sleep?
I have, but I'd like to hear more from you.
So generally speaking, what that means is if you wake up in the morning and you go, I mean, do you do this where you're like, you look at the clock, you're like, it's okay, it's 10:37. If I fall asleep right now, I'm going to get 7 hours and 13 minutes of sleep. And you're like, okay, well, it's 51. Now it's going to get 9, you know, like, and you're doing all the math in your head and you wake up and you're like, man, I only got 4 hours, 51 minutes and 37 seconds of sleep. So the concept of placebo sleep is don't do that. Essentially what you're doing is you're handicapping yourself, waking up in a mindset of scarcity where you're like, oh, I didn't get enough. That sleep wasn't enough. Because you're not going to get a nap. You know, you're up. Once you're up for the day, you're up and running, right?
No naps.
No naps. So the idea is that when you wake up, go, that was good sleep. I'm feeling great. I got plenty of sleep. Let's move on with the day. You know, and that will propel you to, you know, it'll make you at least feel better, even if you didn't get the 8 hours that you needed. So
I like that for people that don't have Aura Rings and they can't crack it. But when you have the truth staring you in the face, use the truth to get better.
Totally fair. And my ring doesn't do that. It's just soon though. So
Christmas is coming.
That's right. That's right. So, John, can you tell us a little bit about some of like the hurdles that you've overcome, not just with the health and fitness, but also just in life, creating this business, creating Entrepreneurs on Fire and the Fire Nation, just like a rabid fan base that loves what you put out?
So the biggest reason for my success is also the biggest hurdle. And I think that's the biggest reason for most people's lack of success is consistency. I mean, it's not easy putting out a daily podcast. And I'm not saying that's any recipe at all for success, but that was what I needed to do to distinguish myself, to become good at my craft of interviewing people. That's what I needed to do in order to hone my skills. That's what I needed to do to meet a ton of successful entrepreneurs and build relationships. You know, I mean, I got to interview Lewis Howes. That led to, you know, back in 2013, that led to me hiring him as a mentor. That led to us developing a friendship. That led to him to 2 nights ago spending the night at my house here in Puerto Rico, us waking up yesterday morning, going on, you know, a 2-mile morning run here in the hills of Puerto Rico, having coffee at my kitchen table, talking about the good old days and life in general and our plans for the future. And like, that's how I was able to get to where I am today, is because I did a daily show. So instead of interviewing 50 people in a year, I interviewed 365 people a year. And I was able to build relationships and be consistent and add value for free to an audience that grew to now we have over 70 million downloads. We have over 1 million listens every single month. And so that was the process that allowed me to do all of that, all of those things, was that consistency. And it's also the biggest challenge. You know, it's waking up every morning and saying, what am I doing today that's going to add value to that world?
Awesome. That's great. I love what you talked about adding value to Lewis Howes. And I've listened to a couple pieces that you've talked about where you're like, when I was first starting off, I would, you could create like an infographic based on a blog and send that to them, just give that to the keys to that, but adding value back to these people. So not necessarily like, how are you selling Entrepreneurs on Fire and making people listen to it, but how are you serving not only the people who are listening, but also the people that you're interviewing, which is just an amazing way to run your business and run your life. So you're really, really passionate about helping people get to the point where they have time and lifestyle freedom, right?
Big time.
So why is that such a huge focus for you?
Because right now, most people's lives revolve around waking up in the morning, like hitting the snooze button, hitting it again, getting up, rushing, taking a shower, brushing your teeth, running the kids off to school, running to your job that you hate, coming back, picking the kids up, spending a little bit of time with them, shoving some food in your mouth, zoning out in front of the television for an hour, waking up and doing it all again. And like, you're stuck in that cycle because you've made decisions in the past and you have a mortgage on the house, you have a car, you payment you have college debt, you have X, you have Y, you have Z. And so you need that consistent salary to live the lifestyle that you've kind of created for yourself. And it doesn't allow you to take a step back and actually break out into a lifestyle of freedom. Where myself and Kate, over September and October, we spent 65 days in Europe traveling Airbnb to Airbnb over the course of 65 days, 17 different Airbnbs, just had the time of our lives and had a blast because we broke those chains a long time ago. And we created a business that adds so much value to the world that we've been able to build a revenue base off of that allows us to go and do things and still run a successful business from wherever we are, adding value. Now, we work hard, we work consistently. The month of August was a big time heads down month, really crushing it so that we could set ourselves out for a September and an October vacation. And then when we came back, November was a busy month, catching up on the things that we had, kind of simmer for a little while. And so all of that was just a straight up reality. But that's what I'm passionate about, is that it's available. It's out there. It's the world that we live in today. If you can find a niche and serve people in that niche better than anybody else is willing or able to serve, then you're going to win. I was the first daily podcast interviewing successful entrepreneurs. So guess what? I was the best #1 daily podcast interviewing entrepreneurs from day one. I was also the worst because I was the only. And if you can get into an area where you're the only and it's a valuable area, you're going to win. It's just on, maybe not at a big level at first because it's such a small niche, but that's where the momentum is garnered, and then you can grow from there.
That's awesome. And John, I really love what you said about it's all based on decisions you've made previously, whether you've gone to college, taken on debt, had a mortgage, and then your life decisions and everything else has to be based off of those previous actions.
Let me break in here because I think on this point, it's so important. There's such a sunk cost fallacy out there for people, meaning I did 1 semester of law school. Oh, I guess I got to be a lawyer for the rest of my life now. Like, that was almost me. I went to 1 semester of law school and I was like, oh, that was $20,000. I hate this. I hate the thought of being a lawyer after having experienced a full semester. But you know what? I guess this is my path in life. Like, that is a sunk cost fallacy. Every single day is a new day to learn from the past, but to do what you want to do going forward. And so I broke that chain. I jumped into corporate finance. That wasn't right for me. I broke that chain. I jumped into real estate. That wasn't for me. I broke that chain. I jumped into podcasting, and that happened to be for me. And who knows how long this will continue to be the case, be it 1, 5, 10, 15 more years. But when the time comes, I'll be ready to pivot in. I can tell you when I do pivot, it'll be in a niche to serve people at a high level.
That's awesome. That's great, John. Thank you so much. What can you give us and my listeners here maybe one actionable tip that you can do and to like break the chains for like the three areas you mentioned previously, business, health, and relationships? What's something they can do to create that freedom moving forward?
You can start setting 100-day SMART goals. So many people live life without any kind of a North Star. And that North Star shouldn't be a 3, 5, 10-year goal because things change too much. I mean, to me, that's a waste of a goal. But if you have a 100-day goal, that's enough of a time frame for it to be a meaningful goal, but it's not so long that it's going to take too long for you to start accomplishing these goals. That's why back in 2016, I launched the Freedom Journal, which is accomplish your number one goal in 100 days. And you start by setting a SMART goal, which is 5 attributes, SMART. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound. If you set a goal that fits all those 5 attributes and you execute that goal on a daily basis over the course of 100 days, you will accomplish your number one goal in 100 days. And guess what? You'll be on that path because then that next staircase will open up. And that's a Martin Luther King quote that I love is you don't need to see the whole staircase to take the first step. Take that first step with a 100-day goal. You're going to get there. And then guess what? The next step will reveal itself then. So don't think you need to see everything before you start. Just see that next step, that 100-day goal that you have, and make that happen.
Totally. I love that. I also think that you're super right about not having to see the entire path. I think a lot of people are bound up by, I got to know my entire thing. I have to get in shape before I can go to the gym. I need to have my clothes before I can do this. Just start, right? Just start with something. And is there I can put the link here, but there's a place on your website that people can go to grab this 100-day journal, right?
Thefreedomjournal.com.
All right. I'll put a link in there. And I know you hit those with that Martin Luther King quote, but you want to leave us with an inspirational quote?
This is the quote that changed everything for me. Albert Einstein, try not to become a person of success, but rather a person of value. And the first 32 years of my life, I was trying to be a person of success and I failed because I wasn't chasing the right things. But then when I flipped it on its head and said, I'm going to be a person of value, that changed everything.
Boom. Dropping knowledge bombs, JLD. Dude, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate your time and just your wisdom with this. Thank you so much. Anything else you want to leave us with?
That's it. You can learn anything more you want about me. eofire.com is where all the magic happens. Free courses for entrepreneurs. And of course, the podcast Entrepreneur on Fire is available for listen.
You're the best, man. I appreciate it.
Take care, Nate.